Dear listener, there are some things going on that we can't explain, so we need to ask you first. Do you believe in ghosts? Sincerely, the Shrinking Violets. Hello, this is April.
And this is Lourdes.
And we are the Shrinking Violets. And this episode is cursed, by the way.
Episode is so cursed. So this is like our second time doing it because the first time it got deleted, and now that we were starting it over, we had a lot of technical difficulties, but we're here now.
Yes, we're here.
Yes, and this episode is chapter 6, or is it chapter 7? I can't remember.
Who knows at this point? We're just
But it's titled The Ghost Next Door and Other Spooky Stories.
Woo!
And we're going to be talking about the R. L. Stine book, the Goosebumps book, The Ghost Next Door, which we have recently read for the spooky vibes. And after that, we're going to be reading some other spooky stories. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so let's dive into The Ghost Next Door. I'm going to give kind of like a summary of what it was about, like a
recap.
Like a recap, yes. And then we'll talk more about it after. So, it all starts out. The story starts out with Hannah having a dream where she and her family are on fire, or they're inside their house and the house is on fire. She wakes up and it's a normal sunny day of summer. She goes outside to play and notices that there is a new next door neighbor. She had never met him before or noticed when they moved in. They, meaning him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
When she confronts the neighbor, he says his name is Danny, and they have been living there for some time. This is very odd to Hannah because she feels that she would have noticed. She also finds out that they are the same age and go to the same school, but don't know any of the same people, which also seems odd. When she tries telling the mom and dad about this, her mom and dad, they just brush her off and not really pay any attention to her. Then Hannah didn't go to summer camp this year, but she writes to her friends anyway and mentions that she met Danny. She makes it a point to mention that none of her friends have been writing back to her, and the summer is so boring without them.
So boring.
So boring. Hannah is in Danny's backyard, and he mentions that he never backs down on a dare. He even demonstrates his daring nature and pretends to fall off the ladder he is climbing to the roof. He falls off, but in Hannah's eyes, he miraculously survives. Later, Hannah is in town, and she witnesses Danny and his friends getting scolded by a shopkeeper. She can tell that he and his friends are troublemakers. Hannah tries to get Danny's attention, but is met by a strange phantom and is transported into a black void where the phantom calls her name. She then is pulled out of the void by Danny's voice. She thinks something is up. She writes another letter to her friend and tells her that she is convinced that Danny is a ghost. Danny then appears and tells her never to send the letter because she will then reveal the truth. She passes out and is woken up by her brothers. She later witnesses Danny getting in trouble again. This time, he and his friends steal ice cream. She listens to their conversation and learns that his friends are bad influences and are often daring Danny to do bad things. She tries to warn him to stop, but he doesn't listen. She later blurts out to Danny that she thinks he is a ghost, and all the signs point towards it, but he is confused and brushes it off. They're playing soccer and he falls. As Hannah tries helping him, his hands go right through Hannah.
What?
Plot twist! If when you were reading this, you were paying close attention, Hannah is actually the ghost and not Danny.
No.
No. Hannah overhears some neighbors talking about her unsold house, and a lady says the family living in it before had all died from a fire the kids started in the backyard. They died 5 years ago, and the house was reconstructed, but it has been vacant ever since. So sad. Hannah goes inside the house, and it is indeed all empty. So Later, we see Hannah witnessing Danny and his friends being dumb and defacing a mail carrier's home. They decide to break into his house on a dare, and things get pretty bad. They start a fire, and Hannah knows she is the only one who can save Danny, who is stuck in the house. The phantom thing that had visited her before tries to stop her from doing this. It tells her that he is Danny's phantom and that he is waiting for him to die so he can take that form. But Hannah doesn't listen and tries to save him any way she can until she succeeds. And in the end, we see Hannah be reunited with her family in the afterlife. She is convinced that she was brought back as a ghost in order to save Danny's life, after how she was responsible for the lives of her family. Oh. So, what did you think of the book?
I liked the book. I think in our first time that we recorded this, I told you that I liked it because it was more than just like a cheesy kids book.
Yeah.
It actually had more like meaning, I think, to it.
Yeah.
And it didn't come off like too preachy, but there was a lesson there. So
Yes.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And the lesson was, don't listen to your friends. If your if your friends tell you to jump off a cliff, don't do it.
Don't do it, okay?
And
there's
also,
death at the bottom of the cliff.
And also, don't start fires in your backyard.
Or in somebody else's house, or
please,
just don't play with fire.
Don't play with fire.
Smokey says to not play.
Yeah,
fire.
Don't play with fire. I love this book. Obviously, it was for middle schoolers.
Yeah.
It was probably 3rd, 4th grade,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still like this story still kind of holds up. It gives you the spooky vibes.
Yeah.
I love ghost stories too, so I really enjoyed this because of that. And also the sad factor of it. Like, I like reading sad things.
Yeah, me too. I definitely cried a little bit for Hannah.
Yeah.
Because she seems like very much a child, because she's like a preteen, right?
Yeah.
Very much a preteen in the way that she kind of goes about talking about her town and her friends, and just like thinking that this boy Danny is cute or whatever. So like she actually, you can tell her personality in such a short book.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
even if it's a short story, I kind of already know how she is. And so when you find out, she's the one that actually died in a fire 5 years ago, of course it's sad.
Yeah, exactly. And those things only make her more human, making you not think that she is the ghost.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of red flags telling you that, especially the title being The Ghost Next Door. You're in Hannah's point of view, so you obviously think that the next door ghost is Danny, but no.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't think I've ever read a book like that where like you think, because you think that she is the main character, so you think that the other person is the one that is the ghost, but I guess it kind of shows that you shouldn't really just assume, right? Like who the main character is.
Yes. And I, like I said before, before any other.
Yeah.
If I hadn't watched like movies like The Others, or if I hadn't read books with these kind of plot twists, I probably wouldn't have seen it coming.
Yeah.
But I saw it coming from a mile away. And that's only because I've read more books and stuff. So
right.
I would love to go back in time and like read it when I was 10 and wonder if I would have caught on or not. Like,
yeah, like if you would have been more surprised.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I said on last time, I said that I liked that she rationalized a lot of the things that she was seeing or feeling, like, oh, like I guess, he moved in when I didn't see, or or like the figure, it's just my imagination. So because that's totally me.
Yeah. Well,
um,
yeah, we don't want spooky things to be real, so we're
yeah,
always rationalizing everything we see or hear.
yeah. I mean, and there's other people who just kind of accept it as some sort of paranormal sort of thing,
Yeah.
but for me, I just like to not be scared. Not in
Yeah.
real life, at least.
Yeah. And this book wasn't really scary.
No.
I mean, there were some things that were like, boo. But it wasn't so scary. I'm wondering if I read any of his other books, will I be scared?
Yeah,
I
and seemed
I don't
more
yeah.
like how do you say, real than like like too crazy. I know that some of the
Yeah.
other books might seem more like
More surreal.
yeah, like monsters,
Monsters.
things like
Yeah.
that.
Or
Instead of
like I don't know if I can read the puppet one because that's scary. This
oh
talk
yeah,
like
yeah.
a talking doll that's demonic. I don't know about that.
Yeah. I remember, I think I remember reading that one, or at least seeing that one on
Yeah.
Goosebumps show.
Yeah.
The Haunted Mask is definitely the best one.
Scary one?
Well, like the I think it was like an hour long episode or movie, like, but if you watch it, it's pretty creepy. I mean, when I watched it as a child, it was creepy to me.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I actually have never seen any
okay.
of the Goosebumps anything.
Okay.
Only the movie. So, yeah.
Dang, I wonder what you would have thought back
I wonder
then.
what I would think.
I know.
Yeah.
But we used to watch it all the time, like in elementary school.
Yeah. What was it on? Like, where could you see it?
Well, I know that they had it like VHS tapes, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
So that was a long time ago, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like they have it on Netflix or something.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So the thing that we're now gonna talk about. Oh, I guess we can just say yes. We recommend trying Goosebumps now as an adult.
Definitely, if you're bored and need like a quick, you know, spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's October, and go for it. Go for the
Do
Goosebumps.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about ghosts and everything,
Yeah.
I did want to kind of read some ghost stories, but
I'm scared.
yeah, but I came upon some on Reddit. So obviously, you take that as you will. Like, is it
Yeah.
really real?
Oh,
or-
that's true.
You know what I mean? But I figured like I would find some pretty interesting ones on Reddit. So yeah, so because these are like, I don't know if they're true or not.
True. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the show Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. Did you ever see that?
No, I have not.
Oh no. Okay. So I got when it started, 1997 to 2002, there's this show called Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. And
Ooh.
so I'm reading what Wikipedia says about it because
Yeah.
it's just easier. Each episode features stories, all of which appeared to defy logic, and some of which were allegedly based on actual events. The viewer was offered the challenge of determining which are true and which are false. At the end of the show, it was revealed to the viewer whether the tales were true or works of fiction. So I watched it as a child, and I remember being so creeped out about it, but I loved watching it because
Yeah.
I loved trying to guess like which ones were actually real. And I think like the majority like had at least 2 that were real or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were ghost stories. They were like some kind of like weird coincidence stories, supernatural things like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if they are real or not. But when I was a child, I was like, oh, I guess that is real. If the TV tells me it's real, it's real. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
So it says out of the 225 stories told over the course of the 45 episodes, 59% were revealed to be fact. Each episode of the series run had at least one fiction story and at least 2 fact stories. So, for example, I got this from like a site that kind of went over some of the episodes, and then the episode 2, I think, from season 1.
Yeah.
It says, it dives into the fear of the unknown that we all have, but with a creepy twist. In the story, a young boy named Danny is terrified by a monster in his closet, so much that he sleeps downstairs on the living room couch as much as possible. Everyone knows how much the closet freaks Danny out, thanks to his older brother telling the whole school. His mother tells the viewers that he's labeled as a coward by the bullies at school.
Yeah.
When Danny tries to confront his bullies, they drag him upstairs and threaten to lock him in the closet. Danny dares his brother to go into the closet first, and when he does, something gets him. Or, at the very least, he's never seen again. To say that this scene is emotionally scarring, it is an understatement. And then that was supposed to be a real life event that happened. Wait,
what?
hold up. So, of course, people went on like wait, what's going on? Was that really real? And so I found multiple like Reddit things and other sites. And one of them says, did some research and bam! Don't know the validity of this, but here you go. Yeah. And then this is it quoted. I personally contacted the man who collected true accounts for the show. I asked him where he got his proof for this. He responded to me with this. The beyond belief fact or fiction story about the monster in the kid's closet was based on an actual event that I personally investigated in Florida many years ago. At the time it happened, there was no explanation for the boy's disappearance until 2 weeks later, when it was learned that he had climbed out of the closet through a ceiling panel and ran away from home.
God.
He stayed at a friend's house until the friend's mother discovered him hiding in the attic of their home and exposed the ruse. Unfortunately, the show producer responsible for checking out the truthfulness of each story was not informed until too late that the little boy had turned up at the friend's house several blocks away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it obviously wasn't true, and they just kind of wanted to share some, this is what happened, he disappeared. But,
yeah.
I mean, he did, so I guess the story was true, but it wasn't a monster that got him.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would have totally believed that if I were watching it as a kid.
Right? So it's like they're scarring these children, because I know that mostly children watch this show, probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, none of that was real. So, okay, so now it's your turn to decide fact or fiction on these two. If you want to rationalize them with me, go for it, because I think it'll be fun. So this is from travel.com did a list of 11 of the scariest ghost stories from Reddit. So this one, it's called It Was Good to See an Old Friend. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. It's a hard word, reunion. I flew into the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a very rural and almost abandoned part of the country. About 3 miles outside of town, I see someone on the side of the road, flagging me down. It turned out that it was one of the guys I had attended school with. Jim, in parentheses, not his name, gets in the car and we started talking. I had not seen him in 20 years, but he still looked the same, maybe a little older. We get to town and I ask him if he wants to come to the VFW and have a drink. He says, no, just take me home. Jim's parents had lived only a few blocks from my grandmother's house, and I turned in that direction, but he said to take him to the outskirts of town, where there was a mobile home park out there, and I figured that is where he lived. When we reached at the end of the turn off, he said, just drop me off here. It was good to see you again, and he walks off into the night. I go to the VFW, met some of my old classmates. We start to talk. As we were talking about who is coming to the reunion, I mentioned that I had just picked up Jim up 3 miles east of town and had dropped him off. Everyone gets quiet. Even the guy singing karaoke stops and lays down the mic. My cousin goes white as a new t-shirt. Barb, Jim died on that curve 8 years ago. Rolled
Oh my
his car.
God.
We were all at his funeral, I was told. I started to feel really dizzy, and I went
Yeah.
out to the car to take some deep breaths. There on the seat is the local newspaper printed 8 years previous containing Jim's obituary. I still have the paper.
Oh my God. I kind of want to believe it.
I kind of want to believe that one too, because I
Yeah.
think it'd be cool. I mean, it was a friendly ghost.
It
He's
was
just-
a friendly ghost, and we're here for friendly ghosts.
Yeah, he just wanted a ride, you know? It's like,
He just wanted a
I'm
ride.
good. I don't need to go
Yeah.
for drinks.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know about this whole the local newspaper being printed 8
Yeah.
years ago being in the car. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I also thought, like, what if it was just some guy that looked like him?
Yeah.
You know, it could be. Because he didn't drop him off at his grandmother's house.
Yeah.
He dropped him off at this trailer park place where it's like
Yeah, it could have definitely been somebody
Some-
else he thought
some other
was
guy.
the same person, or even a relative. And
Yeah.
he never asked him his name. Oh wait, did he?
No.
Well, he knew him. He pretended he knew him. He thought he knew him.
yeah. He
So
just said, like,
he didn't
"Oh,
need
okay,
to ask
yeah."
his name.
But
Oh,
you know,
God.
some guy wanting a free ride could be like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'm Jim. I'll be your Jim."
That is true. Wow. That's scary.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm never picking up a hitchhiker, even if they look familiar.
No. Exactly, because it could be a ghost.
Yeah.
So the second one is the Death March. My dad used to work as a corrections officer at a rural prison. He drove the perimeter of the property for his entire shift, where he would just check empty buildings for runaway inmates. It was generally a boring job. One night, my dad was parked on a hill reading a magazine when he started to feel a thumping in his body. He described it as a feeling you get when speakers are playing a song with really heavy bass, so boom, boom, boom.
In his body?
Yeah. He put the magazine down and checked his rear view mirror, where he saw someone outside the truck. He grabbed his pistol and jumped out of the truck with his weapon drawn. Outside the truck, he realized it was a procession of Native Americans walking through the truck and directly through his seat, only to disappear at the exact spot he was sitting. He said it was clear they were ghosts because many of them appeared injured. This went on for a few seconds and the whole procession disappeared. He called the other perimeter guy on his walkie to try to explain, and the other guy almost immediately stopped communicating. Turns out the other guy had seen this happen before but didn't believe in ghosts, so he wouldn't talk about it.
That seems like it would happen. Like, I don't know this. Oh my god, that's so scary.
I also think that one is cool. Can
Yeah.
you imagine? Like,
Seeing a whole procession.
yeah.
And
of the
not
neighbor-
only you're not the only one who's seen it. Somebody else has seen it.
So he's probably like,
Mm.
nope, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. I would probably do that. I would probably think it's in my head and I didn't see it. Like,
Yeah.
that would probably be me.
Yeah. I wonder if the guy had mentioned something like that before. Like,
Yeah.
or he just really did not talk about it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one would definitely scare me.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
But again, like, they didn't do anything. They marching, or
Yeah.
doing a procession.
I also thought that was incredibly sad because they were injured, right?
Yeah, and we kind of know what. And
Yeah.
it's probably like that was on their land or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing that doesn't take away like the scariness of it, but
Yeah.
it kind of just seems more like, okay, maybe
It's possible.
it's possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Mm.
like some creepy, like just like random children ghost,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's for you listeners to also decide. Was it fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Dum, bum, bum. We will never know.
We'll never know.
So yeah. So I think that was pretty much the end of this quick episode.
Quick episode.
Woohoo!
What will we be doing in the next episode?
Yeah, so in the next one, I think we were going to do the literary mashups. So
Yes.
we're gonna think about books and kind of like scary or like, kind of folk tales. And what would go, maybe we'll draw them out like we have done before.
Ooh, yes.
So we're just gonna try to make up those stories, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then we'll play a game also. That we played a game last time, but we have no energy for that now.
No.
But it'll be fun. And
and what about the movies and shows?
Yeah, so for the last kind of Halloween-ish October episode, I think we'll be kind of not ranking, but sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, are just shows or movies that are scary or like Halloween, but for children.
Mostly children.
Mostly children
like
ones.
Yeah.
So that means you should start rewatching probably, things like, let's see. Well, if you, obviously you might have already watched Hocus Pocus. If you haven't, kind of weird.
Yeah. Or Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
I think that's pretty Halloween. That's a good question. Is it Halloween or is it Christmas? I see it as Halloween.
Yes. Yes.
But it
It's
could be
both.
both.
It's
It could be
both.
both.
Yeah.
And we said Casper. I've been watching Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, but the old one.
The original.
And it's so fun. Like, I just remember liking it so much.
Oh.
Yeah. I suggest
And
you
you
watch it because I don't know. It's just really good.
Yes, I need to rewatch it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've watched the new Sabrina.
The new one. Yeah.
And I have not watched that one.
That one is spooky.
Ooh.
But I love it, and I think it's mostly because of like there's a lot of funny parts. There's a lot of they use a lot of like lore, spooky lore, and why else? Oh, I love the cinematography.
Yeah, it looks great. So we'll probably put out a list so that you can see, and that would be on our Instagram.
Yes.
Cool. So I think that's it.
That's
Woo!
it.
Yay! Yay!
30 more days to Halloween, because today is October 1st. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
I hear it, but I'm not even moving or anything.
No, me neither. There's a ghost.